This isn't typical. This is not how you see KTMs usually, lying on their sides.
Unless it's Chris's.
Unless it's mine, of course. Open bridge. It's just sleeping. It's tired, okay? So I've got in my hands, I don't know if you can see this, fairly gnarled up case of a 2-part JB Weld product. And this stuff is for metal. You can buy it. I get mine from Ottawa Fastener. Canadian Tire might have this product as well. I'm getting nods here, so yes. You can get it for wood, you can get it for plastic. This particular piece is for metal. Little package like that. And I know Martin gave it to me 2 years ago. So that's how much I've used in 2 years. And I've used it on other people's bikes. So I'm just going to glove up here. Why am I going to glove up? This stuff is sticky and it'll be on my fingers for a couple of days. I carry gloves in my kit for this reason, and if somebody gets injured, I'm also not putting my dirty, filthy hands on them, and acts as a barrier for an injured rider.
Yeah, unfortunately, Chris and I have had to use our supply of gloves that we carry this season, so they're great for that reason alone.
Also, the gloves, I ride in the winter. You put a pair of these on underneath your riding gloves, your hands stay warm and your hands stay dry. So I'll tell you a little story, and it involves a pink, or I think it was orange, tutu. This is another Moab adventure. We were down there. Look at this. So the inside's one color, the outside's a different color.
You have to, oh, there you go. Lower it down there, Chris.
Oh, sorry.
There you go, perfect. Yeah, that's good.
So 2 different parts, and what you want to do is mix it so it's the same color. Okay, so I'll just start mixing it.
That looked like your belly button.
Oh, my belly button's dirtier than that, Grant.
Oh, yeah.
So riding in Moab, good buddy Kevin Anderson dropped his bike. He high-sided it, and he put a hole into the crankcase, you know, to which I think, Grant, you may have been wearing the tutu at that point and took it off, and we gave it to Kevin right away. And he rode it probably for 3 days straight because he kept falling off his bike and making really bad, poor riding decisions. We had this repair done within 20 minutes. And if it wasn't for the beauty of the area and looking and carrying on, laughing, we pulled out the cameras, we would have been back riding within 20 minutes. It's really important when you're doing a crankcase repair like this to clean it. Okay, so remove the debris around the oil stained case. First and foremost, any hard debris, dirt, dust, leaves, whatever. And then what I like to do is I'll unhook my fuel line from the bike. That's on the bottom side right now. But take your fuel line off your tank and get some fuel onto a rag or whatnot, whatever you've got, and then clean the crankcase with the fuel before you start this procedure. This is fairly mixed at this point in time. Okay, I can actually feel it warming up. All right, another good thing this stuff is really good for, I'll be right back on it. Right, Larry? I'm going to set this. I've lost a nut. Okay, I am now going to make my own nut with this. This was this was taught to me by Larry Murray a couple of years ago when we did this in Limerick. I'm just going to let that sit like that, and I'll come back to it. So your crankcase repair, I'm going to go down here, Emma. Done with that. I've turned the fuel for the bike off, laid it down on its side, found some kitty litter here. We're inside. And I don't know if you can see, there's a crack in this case. It's actually marker, and I put tape on the bike as well. just because I don't want this to stick on the bike forever. This is for sale, by the way. You can find it on Kijiji. So all I'm going to do, this is ready to be placed on, is I'm going to cover the cleaned area. Okay, it doesn't have to be too pretty, folks. And we're done. Oh, no, well, Dave's saying feather it out, feather it out. You want to find some real estate here with the product so that it's got maximum adhesion. So fan it out, push it into the cracks. That's not going to go anywhere. Anything else to add, guys? No? Okay.
If for some reason it happens to be your clutch side like this, and the case is smashed in, and you have pieces where it looks like you're going to be working with a jigsaw puzzle to put it together, and that happens. Now, sometimes it's easier just to tow your bike back out, but it's not always. It could be a long way. So if for some reason the case is broken into multiple pieces, you got the pieces normally, you start putting it back together. What will happen if you don't pull the clutch side off to do your repair, the contour of this will go in. So it will start to look a little bit concave as you put the pieces all back in. You'll do your repair and it will absolutely look great. You'll be very proud of yourself. I was with Warren Thaxter when he did it in Red Rock Canyon in Nevada, and they couldn't have been proud of these guys. I watched them do it, didn't know better at the time myself. Got the bike up, started the bike, everything was good, it didn't leak. Guy pulled the clutch in, the clutch basket came out, smashed the case off. So if it's a side case, you got to put it together like a puzzle, pull it off. This is not to take off. I mean, literally, you got 7 bolts. It's off in 2 minutes. You get to clean it well, and you'll be able to keep the contour correct. That's about it for me.
I'm going to correct you there. This is 6 bolts, KTM. Maybe betas need 7 bolts, but it is what it is.
Chris, I got a question
Yeah.
for you.
We'll probably
all
see
you
that.
guys. What do you use? What do you guys use on the trail to clean the oil? Like if I'm in the shop, I have a can of brake clean to clean it off. What do I clean it off with?
Chris mentioned it. Use a gas. I mean, obviously, if you tip the bike over, you're going to have gas coming out. So I mean, if you've got shop rags in your toolkit, use the gas. As your bike goes over, put a rag underneath, and soak up the gas. You know, you're saving the environment, but you're also being able to use it to clean up the case and help make the JB weld adhere.
Yeah, so use the gas to clean. This is also JB product, well, Permatex, but this is a 2-part compound. Grab a rock. You can put, it's 50-50, so you mix it together. Mix it on a rock with a stick, and you can set it in. I don't carry this anymore because it punctures in my kit and goes everywhere. I'll have this at home in the shop, in the garage. And what I find with this stuff is that it adheres to the laws of gravity. It will drip down. So you've got to be mindful of which product you want to use and when.
Yeah, I find the 2-part epoxy type JB weld is good for a more permanent repair.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas on the trail, if you use the 2-part stick, it works a lot better out there. You know, Larry probably remembers the Black Bear Enduro that was up in just north of near Halliburton. I was racing that event. First section, I got a little haywire in it, crashed. I actually knocked the radiator spigot, the rag cap right off. I thought, great, my day's done. And I hadn't even gone through the first section. I sat there for a minute, thought about it. All right, well, wait a minute. I looked at it. I found a stick on the ground, managed to break it off, make a small piece. It was just like a plug or a cork, you know, that you find in a wine bottle, stuffed it in. I thought, okay, that's good. Now I'm gonna seal it. Okay, what do? I've lost fluid. I took water out of my Camelback, I filled up my radiator, I put the plug in, and then I used the 2-part epoxy to seal all around it. I managed to finish the event, and I actually got a third in that event. So there are ways to fix your bike and still compete or still finish your trail ride.
So are you saying if I can get a third if I use some of these products?
No.
No? Thanks, Larry.
No.
Okay, so I demonstrated on the crankcase. This stuff also works on the radiators as well. Dave brought up a great point. Take the water from your Camelback, top up your rad before continuing with the rest of the day. It doesn't take too long for a bike to expel all of the coolant. I've been there a couple of times. Cost me maybe a couple of top ends. And that's just, you know, it is what it is, but it does work on rads as well. There's a few bikes out there that I know of that have got that as a fix. And again, speaking to what Dave was saying about this stuff being fairly permanent, I've got an old KTM 525, and on the clutch side, I do have the 2-part putty from, I would say before 2010. Hasn't leaked still. It looks ugly. It is a Band-Aid, but it works, and it works great.
The 2-part epoxy will also work on pipes. It's not a permanent fix, but it'll get you out if you've got a really raspy, got a crack in the pipe or something like that. These days, it very rarely happens. Most of the time, you'll just get a dent in the pipe, and then you'll just ride out and not be worried.
Hey Dave, quick question. Chris, I carry a small piece of aluminum, just like a beer can, cut it out and carry a small piece that you can mold to the case so that's or the actual hole versus the product. Is that, I saw someone else carry that and I thought that's a good idea.
And that works. We'll go over to the bike again here. So Grant's talking about, obviously not a crushed can, but a can, cutting a credit card size piece out of the tin, putting it in your pack, lying it flat, and then you can put it over the broken crankcase, okay? Tape it up, use the putty if you want, and it acts like, a big Band-Aid for it. We had a younger rider on a 2-stroke 80 or 90 on one of our rides, and he had punctured a hole on the clutch side and was losing fluid. I gave him a rubber glove. His dad and I taped it on, and he got back to the clubhouse without, running out of all of his oil and blowing the bike up. So just think about it while you're out there. There are tons of solutions. Think about what the problem is, come up with a sensible solution. Okay, here's, I mentioned this needing a nut. This is what I put on at the beginning before I did the repair on the crankcase. I'm winding this out now. This stuff does work, okay? So if you don't have a nut and you need a nut, make a nut. I'm a nut.
Sometimes
Okay.
I feel like a nut. Sometimes I don't.
I have enough 2-part epoxy for you.
I don't know if you can hear that, but Dave Rock just commented. He said, "There's not enough 2-part epoxy in the world for me to fix, me being a nut." So this does work. It's great. It's fine. Will it last the ride? I've left the staging area gone out, and the next time I checked, it was gone. But in a jam, depending on where it's located on the bike, in my particular application, I had it on the foot brake, or no, it was the shifter. So it is what it is. It works, and it'll get you out of the jam. Okay, where are we now? Watered out bike. Any questions on the case repair or the 2-part epoxy?
Yeah, just a quick one. What are you using to top up the fluid that lost? Like if you punctured a hole in your crankcase or your transmission clutch side cover?
Nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's very rare that any of us are carrying crankcase oil on a ride. Maybe on a big adventure dual sport ride, you might find somebody who's got some oil, but nothing. Just know that your bike is not running what it should be. Take it easy, and this is just limp it home, get it back to your vehicle or your place, and prepare it properly. Top up the fluids, do whatever you need to do. So yeah, nothing to top it up. Just go slow.
Okay. Okay, cool. Thanks.
I mean, 9 times out of 10, this stuff happens when you just lay it over, standing there slow, right? So check your bike. If you see something, just tip it over the opposite side and keep the fluids in the bike.
If you're at a real jam, for example, if you've totally emptied out the crankcase, if you're riding with buddies, chances are you rob from a little bit of each of them just to get you out. Okay, and Larry just had indicated that.
Yeah, if you're on a long ride, obviously you're gonna have guys out there with 2-stroke bikes that are gonna be carrying oil for when they fill up the tank. 2-stroke oil will work in a 2-stroke crankcase as well. So, I mean, there are ways to get you out. A 2-stroke, you'll be amazed at how far you can go. If you know the area, obviously you know how far you're away from your trucks. If an emergency arises, you've got to get out, even with a 2-stroke crankcase empty of oil, there's usually enough lubrication in the cases that the clutch may get fried, but will still work for an amazing long time these days. Back in the early days of motocross, if you ran out of oil, your transmission and your clutch was done. These days, with the modern materials, you'll be amazed at how far a dry clutch will go. And just look at the road races. They use a dry clutch. They don't use a wet clutch. And they manage to get practice and a full race out of it. So
Fair point.
clutch is tough these days.